Hi everybody, my name's Amelia and welcome to the channel. So today I have another tarot video for you guys. In this video I'm just going to be sharing some decks that I just don't reach for. This is a very real situation when you have tarot, right? Like especially if you have more than a few decks, there are decks that you just will not gravitate towards. For me in particular, there's a lot of decks that have been gifted to me that I just do not reach for or grab for readings. I don't really grab them for client readings. I don't really grab them for myself. And so it is a very real part of deck ownership, I guess. And funny enough, I was actually rearranging my altar space, and I have this little, it's basically a nightstand that I use for my altar, but there's a drawer underneath it, and in that drawer I have a lot of decks, and I kind of forgot about them. So some of the decks were literally forgotten. I forgot that I had them. And I feel so bad saying that, but I truly do not use every deck that's in my collection, and really it's because some decks just don't resonate with me, or I just don't know how to integrate them into my practice very well. I have my favorites, and I tend to go for those, my workhorse decks as some people call them, and so because of that, there are some decks I just do not use. So I'm going to go ahead and show you the ones that I don't really use, and my goal for this year, I think, will be to try to use decks that I don't normally touch. Now, I also want to spend a lot of this year really deep diving in tarot, really evolving my tarot study, and I'm already doing that at the moment, as we speak, which I know you guys don't really see that, but I am in a tarot study at the moment, and I will be filming more about that later as we go on, but at the moment I'm just kind of in the beginnings of it, and so I won't be filming the whole process, but I will have a lot of thoughts, and I will talk to you guys about my tarot study a few months from now, quite literally a while from now. But anyway, let's go ahead and dive into the decks that I hardly ever touch. Alright, so the first deck that I hardly ever touch, I would probably use it a lot more, but you'll see. Some of you might already know about this, but this is my Art Nouveau Lenormand. Now, a few years ago, I purchased a Lenormand deck because I saw a lot of people talking about Lenormand, and I thought it was a very interesting, it's not Oracle, it's not Tarot, it's something else. It has its own system, and I was very fascinated by Lenormand, and so I wanted one, and this one was gorgeous, and it still is gorgeous. So I'll show it to you. It's in this cute little box. Look at these backs. Oh. And it has this nice guidebook and everything, but the backs are just wonderful. Now mine are bent because it's just been in this box for a while. You can see that bow there. It wasn't bowed, I don't think. I don't know, it's been a while since I've opened it, but it is so pretty. And I believe it's still in order. Look how pretty this is. And the way that you read Lenormand is a bit different. Each symbol here is the tree, or you have, I don't know, is that the storm, the sea? I have no idea. The snake. There's different symbols, and they all mean different things, and you can kind of divine meaning from it. And I just love the art style. I love the color. I would love this deck, and I think I would find it valuable to me, but here is my problem. I know it's here somewhere. I don't know where it'll skip. I think it's card 33. Oh, 34. 30, there it was. Okay, I was so wrong on the number. Okay, I was about to go crazy. I was about to say, guys, I'm being haunted. But no, okay, so I am actually missing card 30. So, a long time ago, I got this deck, right? A few years ago. And then I never really used it. I think I opened it once. I think I was trying to memorize the cards, and I was playing around with studying it. And then I decided to show this deck in my deck collection tour. Again, this is a while ago. That video is still on my channel, but I was going to show this deck in a deck collection tour. In that video, you can see card 30. It is on screen in that video. After I finished that video, card 30 disappeared. It's gone. Gone. And I have combed through my entire living room. I have lifted up the living room rug, gone under the tables, under the sofa, I've gone under everything. That card is nowhere to be seen. And the weird thing is, I had rewatched the raw footage of that video, and I packed every single card away. My husband, to this day, just says that I somehow must have dropped it either in that video or one of the other times when I was trying to work with it shortly after, and that the card is somewhere in the house. And he firmly believes that we will find this card when we move. I have given up. I've given up hope on finding that card. And I know it's my own fault. Like, it's not like it came misprinted. It's like I literally don't have that card. So, you know, I could use the deck without that card. But now that I'm missing a card, it doesn't feel quite the same. Like, I'm not going to learn the Lenormand in its entirety. So, card 30 is the Lily. And it's about, like, maturity, old age, stuff like that. And I do want to do a study. I would love to use Lenormand, but I'm missing that card. I'm missing it, and I don't want to use the deck if I don't have the complete set. So, yeah, it's a gorgeous deck. It's beautiful. I'm sure it shuffles beautifully. I'm sure that it is a wonderful deck to use. I'm sure Lenormand, you know, has some interesting aspects to it. But, yeah, I've never purchased another Lenormand deck because I don't want another Lenormand deck. I loved this one, and I could repurchase this exact deck, and maybe one day I will, but I have yet to do it. And instead I just have it on my shelf collecting dust, never to be used because I'm missing a card. And it's not even like it's that big of a deal to miss a card, but if I don't even know how the Lenormand works, I'm worried that without that card, I'm going to miss out on a whole thing. And then what if that card was supposed to pop up in a reading? You know, I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'll get into Lenormand later. I would love to get this one, and I don't know what I would do with this extra deck. I don't really like throwing away decks, but I also can't sell or rehome a deck that's missing a card, right? And I don't really want two of the same deck. It's just, it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare for me. It's a problem, and I may never use Lenormand because of it, but it is what it is, and I don't think I'm ever going to find the missing card. So that is why I don't use that deck. It has nothing to do with the deck itself. I actually really like that deck. I love the art in it. I think I would love studying Lenormand and trying to figure out how to use it in my practice. Genuinely just don't have that card, and I don't really know what to do about that. I do think the only solution is to discard that deck in some beautiful rite of passage. Hopefully in a nice way. I feel so awful. Like, there's not really, I mean, I can let it collect dust forever, but I think I would just have to replace it. Like, I would have to just replace the entire deck and get an entirely different one and then figure out what to do with this one or properly dispose it, because I don't think I could rehome a deck to somebody with a missing card. And as much as I don't want to destroy something that I intended on purchasing and keeping forever, especially something that's a spiritual tool, I really genuinely don't want it to collect dust on my shelf forever as well. So it's very, very difficult. Don't know what to do with that. Alright. The next deck that I'm going to show you guys is the Jane Austen Tarot. So this says 53 cards for divination and gameplay. It's supposed to be like a game, like a deck of cards. This one was gifted to me, I believe, and I kind of forgot about it. I know I've shown it before on the channel, but I genuinely forgot it existed. Now, I think there's a few reasons I don't really like this one. So it is on this really nice linen cardstock, and it is very pretty. I have to give it that. It's very pretty. But I think the reason I don't like it is because it's a playing card deck, and then they've thrown some of the majors onto some of the regular cards. It's not like a tarot at all. It doesn't really claim to be a tarot deck. I think I'm the one that called it that, but I don't know. I'm not set on it. We have the Seven of Spades here, which is like, what, the Seven of Swords, and the Chariot. And I don't always agree. Like, I think I would have put the Chariot on the Eight of Wands, maybe. Like, which would have been the Eight of Clubs. I had to think about that. So, the Six of Cups with the Lovers is fine, and by that I mean Six of Hearts. I mean, you get the idea. Like, some of the alignments make sense, some of them don't, but it's not really a deck that I, like, gravitate towards. I honestly may one day rehome this one. It just sits in a box on my shelf. All of it is reversed. That's great. When did it... I don't understand this. Okay. It just sits in a box, and I just don't use it. I don't know if I will. I think I tried to use it a while, like, when I got it, but it just doesn't resonate to me, and I don't like how... It's not really Pippish, but, like, I don't really like this style, I guess. I love the art, just not the way it's shown. I like scenes more than Pip style decks. And it is pretty. It is sweet, and the cardstock is nice, but it's just something I don't resonate with, and I think I would have preferred a full tarot deck instead of a playing card deck. I'm not huge into playing card decks. I have a deck of playing cards, but I don't really use it in my divination. I know some people do. So the next deck that I have, it was also gifted to me, and I feel bad that it's, like, kept in a box in my drawer and kind of forgotten, because I did use it for a time. But that is the Crystal Wisdom Healing Oracle. So this deck, just gonna see if I can get it out. Okay. Alright. I don't think it's the prettiest deck. The gilding is super cheap, and the cardstock is very cheap. It's a very cheap deck. But it does have a ton of crystals that we can look at, and it can be helpful for identifying crystals or learning about them, because you can go into the guidebook and learn more about these crystals. It is very helpful for memorization and for understanding crystal meanings, but I just don't have a use for it in a reading. Like, I don't have a use for this deck pulling it, like getting garnet and, you know, saying this is what garnet represents and using it in a reading. I just don't have a purpose for it. It's a good study deck if you want to study crystals, or at least 50 of them. It doesn't, you know, encompass all crystals, but it can be helpful for, I guess, learning them, and it was. I did use it to, usually the guidebook. I didn't really use the cards themselves, funny enough, but I used the guidebook to learn a bit more about crystals, and it's a pretty decent guidebook. Here's flint, black tourmaline protection, malachite, and, like, it has, you know, a self-understanding, divination, healing insight, and some, like, interesting things about it. So again, I used this for study at one point, but I don't really use it in readings. And I don't know if you can see this bottom. So you see this card? Look at the gilding that just peeled away. Like, it's not very good quality. We'll say that much. So yeah, I don't really have a place for it now because I'm not really studying crystals at the moment, and I have books on crystals, or I'll just, you know, use my phone and Google, like, any crystal things that I want to learn or know about if I have any questions. But for a while, it served its purpose of helping me learn about crystals and learning about some of the metaphysical properties, but I wouldn't say as a deck it was very useful for me. I don't think I'll rehome it because I do genuinely think it can be it's a good resource, and I think the guidebook is very nice, but I don't see myself using it in readings for personal divination. Does that make sense? So the next deck that I'm going to show you is actually a little bit of a collection thing. So I have this deck here, Signs and Skymates Astrological Compatibility Deck, and it goes along with this book right here, Signs and Skymates, The Ultimate Guide to Astrological Compatibility by Dosevia Trenu? I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. And it's illustrated by Nika King. So this book I was so excited to purchase it when it came out. It is an astrological compatibility book. It is filled to the brim with information, and it was written by one of my favorite astrologers of all time. I love Dosevia's astrological predictions. She writes for Refinery 29, and then she also has her business Know the Zodiac, as well as her Instagram page Scorpio Mystique, which I've been following since like 2013. So she has some incredible stuff out there, and I really enjoyed her book. And it came with this Signs and Skymates astrological compatibility deck. Now, I'm happy to have it, like to have the astrological compatibility deck. It is very cute. Let me get it out. The cards are very interesting. They still clump together. I haven't really used it. But, you know, we have this, like, nice gold sides. So, these are all the zodiac signs, singularly. I realized I separated that. Oh, and planets. Okay, so zodiac signs and planets. And, you know, it can be a very informative, it has a bunch of information on each card, so it can help you to understand what the energy is of these zodiac signs or these planets. And that's cool. And then it also has all of the astrological compatibilities. So you can look at the astrological compatibility for any zodiac sign compared with another one. And I guess mine's all turned around. Okay, that's awesome. But like, for example, Aries, Virgo. It says who they are, you know, stuff about them, I guess, about their compatibility. But even though the deck is very cute, I don't really find the deck to be a super crazy resource for me. It's not like the deck itself is what I'm studying the book. But moreover, I just don't know how I would use this in a reading. I don't really see myself doing it. I don't really see a need to. So it's sort of a complement to the book. And the book is what I purchased and what I wanted. The book is where, I mean, look how thick this is. This is what I wanted. But this is just something that came with it, and I don't necessarily use the deck, and I don't necessarily see myself using it, nor even the few cards that I would possibly use with the planetary associations. And I think it's because it's so simple in its descriptions, and I just don't have a need for it. So I don't really have any astrological decks, so this is about the only one I do have. And again, it just doesn't really have a place for me, but I don't want to get rid of it. I like that it came with the book, and I will keep this simply because of its connection to the book, but it's not necessarily something I use in readings. Alright, so I know there's been a lot of Oracle. I have one more, and then I have some tarot decks to show you. So, my next one are these fortune-telling cards. Now this, I'm actually planning on using, for sure. So these fortune-telling cards came from a local metaphysical shop, and they kind of work in the way that a pendulum does, where you ask a question and you shuffle them. Oh gosh. Okay, they already bent a little bit. So like if I say, we'll see if my intuition's on point. If I say, am I wearing a red shirt? Maybe I should hide the, do that. Okay. Am I wearing a red shirt? Like this one. Without questioning. Cool. I guess it's on point. So it has like all these like cute little answers. It's yes or no. Or maybes, I guess. Why are you asking me? For sure. Wait, let me think. Yes. Might be. Let's see some other ones. I think so. Under no circumstances. Not at all. Maybe. It kind of works like a magic 8-ball. But yeah, it has a bunch of yes or no or maybe answers. And I think it could be helpful to add it to a reading. I think it could be fun to trust my intuition, to have answers to things. Like, for example, it's not going to say why something is, which is what I favor about tarot. It's only going to give yes or no answers. But if I say, am I operating in my highest alignment right now? Whoops. Find your own answer. Okay, and then why are you asking? Well, that's kind of hilarious. Those came out at the same time. All right. Fair. Thank you. But yeah, you can see how it could be used, and I actually want to use it more. I think it could be an interesting deck to use. I can't remember if this was a gift. I think it was. It might not have been. I can't remember. But I do kind of want to integrate it into my practice more. I kind of forgot about it until a friend of mine got a reading from me, and she mentioned it, and she actually had this deck but gifted it to her sister. And so I'm thinking I kind of want to try it this year. I kind of want to try this deck. No clue how it'll be, but I think I'm going to put it on my altar so I don't, like, forget about it. And I think it could be useful. I think a lot of people do enjoy this deck, but it's not for everybody. It certainly isn't for everybody. It doesn't answer open-ended questions, but I almost kind of like that about it, and I do see potential in it. I just, for whatever reason, I had it, and then I just put it away, and I forgot all about it. So, because it didn't really have a place on my Oracle shelf, but now I'm thinking I kind of want to use it, so I'll keep you updated on how this works out for me. Alright, so let's get into the tarot decks that I hardly ever touch. So, the first one I'll show is a fairly new one, so that's partially why I don't use it, but it is in this green, oh my god, did I call this green? It's in this pink bag, and the deck itself is pink, and this comes from a friend of mine. It's an RWS clone, which is one reason I don't gravitate toward it, because if I wanted an RWS, I would use my traditional RWS. It's also extremely glossy and plasticky feeling, and I don't really like that. It's pink and black. It's interesting, but I don't really see myself using it. Oh my god, I forgot how glossy it is. This kind of hurts my eyes. But it came from a friend that was rehoming it. I said I would take it. No clue if I'm going to use this deck and what I'm going to use it for. No idea, because I'm not a huge fan of RWS clones. But we'll see. We'll see. I am just waiting for the opportune moment. So we'll see what happens. But it's an RWS clone. It's bright pink. It's glossy. It hurts my eyes. It feels very slippery. I don't know. I don't know where this will go. I might use it maybe, like, during parties, you know, when people are drinking, and I don't really necessarily think I don't think you should or shouldn't. There's not, like, a should or shouldn't, but, like, using tarot as, like, a party tool, some people don't like that. With my friends, we use tarot all the time, and sometimes when we're drinking, we just ask the silliest questions, and it can just be fun. It can be fun to bond with a deck. This one I wouldn't worry about spills because it's so glossy, it'd probably clean up pretty well. Where my my traditional decks, or my other decks, I do not, like indie decks, I would never. Just because I don't want them to get ruined in any way, but I don't think this one would get ruined if it got, like, wine on it or something. Again, using tarot while under the influence of, like, drinks or something, like, you guys, everybody can have their own opinion on that. Depending on the situation, depending on what we're doing, I'm fine with it with my friends because we pull out our decks all the time together. But other situations, like a big party with friends of mine who don't use tarot, I probably wouldn't do it. So, it kind of just depends on the situation. But either way, yeah, that bag, this deck lives in this bag, and I just haven't really used it yet. I have it. It's been in my collection now for maybe a couple months. I kind of forget when she gave it to me. But yeah, I just don't have a place for it yet. The last one I am definitely going to be using this year because I am diving into my tarot study. And it is this tarot deck, literally titled Tarot Cards. And it is from A.J. Mueller, Switzerland. Okay. This I got from an antique store. And this deck was from 1970, copyright 1970. It is my oldest deck in the sense of, like, physical age. Not my first deck, not the longest in my collection, just the oldest in physical age. And it looks so interesting, but it is kind of tricky for me to understand because it is a Marseilles deck, and I don't always understand what it's trying to communicate with me. Like, when I see these, I really have to think about it and think elementally, think, like, numerologically. Like, I really have to put in the work to understand what this deck is trying to tell me. And I just haven't really given it the time of day that it needs. Like, I haven't really given it the attention it needs, and I need to spend more time studying it. I really do. I need to work with it more. I need to try it out. I've heard people love Marseille decks and find them to be really helpful and expand their tarot knowledge. But, like, for me, I just haven't, I don't know. It's because of the pip deck thing, I think, and I just haven't naturally gravitated towards Marseille. But I do think it's something that I could learn, and I want to as I do my deep dive into the tarot this year. I want to be able to work with this deck. Now, this deck, too, when I asked it for ideas on how to read with it, it told me that I would have to work for it, and that it was going to speak to me in symbols, and so it has. And again, I feel like I was just always missing it. I like blunt decks. I don't really want decks that make me work for it, but at the same time, I see the value in it, and I think that I can genuinely enjoy this deck. It's just a matter of putting in the work, trying to understand it, and connecting with it on a deeper level this year, and really studying Marseille instead of always leaning to the RWS, because I do love my RWS, but it's not the only system out there, and it's not the only deck out there, and I think that it would benefit me to explore alternatives as well. So I think I will work with this one in this coming year. I don't want it to just sit on my shelf gathering dust. I genuinely want to put effort into this one. So hopefully in a few months I come back and I tell you about my journey with it, but we shall see. Alright, so these are the decks that I hardly ever touch, that just sit on my shelf or sit in a drawer, and I've kind of forgotten that they existed. But hopefully that just goes to show that there are some, like, not all decks are for everybody, and, you know, we all have our preferences, and obviously some of the decks I have on the shelf simply because I haven't given enough time to them, or because they're missing a card, or like something silly. It's not that I hate any of these decks, because I don't. They all have very different functions, and it's just a matter of, like, giving the deck the time and attention that it needs, I think, and then, of course, trying to find a way to integrate it into my practice. And not all of them can be easily integrated. But hopefully you'll see me talking about at least these two decks in the future. Hopefully I am connecting with them more, so that way you guys can kind of get a taste of what the heck I'm doing with them in my tarot study. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you guys for watching today's video, and until next time, I will catch you later.